Minister of Interior of a very large African country recently said, when talking about their new digital identification system, he said, the real thing here is the identification number you have. With that, you're on the data bank. Everything about you is there. We're going to have your DNA too. Even if you are in a car, I will know if you are the one in the car with your DNA. It's already captured, he said. You're already captured. You cannot run away anymore. So governments today have huge amounts of data. It's increasingly digital. That makes it easier to manipulate, easier to consolidate, easier to share, easier to give access to, more vulnerable to being breached, of course, as well. And so with the opportunities of larger amounts of data and better understood data that come, and there are huge opportunities there because governments can make better policy decisions, better serve people, allocate public resources better, reduce fraudulent claims for social payments, deliver healthcare where it needs to be, where communities need it. It gives government deep knowledge about individuals' lives, however, and their political opinions, their social networks, their financial position. There are real tensions that have to be resolved. Governments typically hold data in silos. Traditionally, you'll have health data held within the health ministry or a health agency, and you'll have social protection data in that agency, food distribution in another. Some of them will be in international organizations, and yet the benefit of data is when you're able to cross-pollinate it and apply analytics to multiple different pools of data. And yet, the tension is that the more you do that, again, the more information the government has on individuals. I think there are four basic things we really need to think about in addressing the opportunity and the risk here. You obviously need effective laws, and more countries are introducing that to impose a discipline of good data governance. And we're seeing those laws now bit by bit being applied. We're seeing the courts recently in India, Kenya, Jamaica, for example, striking down or suspending parts of very important digital initiatives of government, in those cases ID systems, because of lack of data protection. So we're seeing some push into some insistence on good legal standards. So we need more of that. We need then important technical addressing it through procurement processes. Every time governments purchasing more systems, we need cross-government guidance, protocols that make sure that all data collection, processing, storage, sharing, interoperability, that it'll have careful security controls, there won't be unauthorized access. So that needs to be baked in, to use Priya's phrase from before. We need good administrative measures within the organizations that handle data. So separation of duties, perhaps those who are handling collection of data from those who are managing authorization of transactions that use the data. And yet without overdoing it, because you can then over-hierarchicalize or bureaucratize departments of government. So we need really more than anything to build cultures and ethics within government. And then lastly, we need institutional innovation along the lines that Jenny was talking about, new mechanisms where the rule of law may be weak, where government institutions may be weak, and yet you can still create something like a data trust, which can be a reliable mechanism for making data available for good use.